Welcome back to the Neely Fam channel. Today, I'm gonna do a little story time for you guys. I'm gonna tell you about finding out I was pregnant at 19. Buckle up. So just so we have a little bit of a context, I came from a very religious family. Like, we are Mormon, and so sleeping with someone before marriage is like a huge no-no. So that is kind of why this is like a big deal. Like, no matter what, it's a big deal, but even more so, like, I felt like my life was over when I found out, basically because of like the religious background. I also grew up playing tennis, and I was at my school for a tennis scholarship. So I was in jeopardy of losing that. Like, basically everything I've worked for my entire life felt like it was just gonna be gone. So I was a sophomore at Brigham Young University, BYU for short, which is basically a religious Mormon university. I was going through a bit of a wild phase in college. Mainly it stemmed from my past as an abusive relationship in the past, and got into some things that weren't good for me, I guess. I didn't really know how to handle it. Coming from a family that didn't drink, smoke, have sex before marriage, anything like that, I think when I started doing those things, I didn't know how to handle it properly because I didn't have a lot of guidance, and I never had really seen it, so I was just kind of going with it, you know? I was in my wild stage for a Mormon. So in that wild stage, I met a guy who was also kind of in his wild stage. I just gotten out of an abusive relationship and met this guy about a couple weeks later. We started hanging out, dating, and it was so much fun. Like, it was so great. And I say this guy, but he ended up being my boyfriend, who's also the father of my son. We started dating when I was at school, but the semester ended, and then that summer we were kind of like talking here and there, but we weren't officially together. And it was till I went back up to Utah to visit, and we just hung out, and like everything was good. We're like, okay, let's like be together. My biggest fear of getting into a relationship was getting pregnant, because I had just lost my virginity, and that's a whole nother story because it was from rape and it was just not a good situation. And so I was very new to this. I was very new to sex. I don't know why it's like weird for me to say that, but I'm like totally an adult, but I'm like, what can I say on here? There's children who may watch this. But yes, I was. So I guess my biggest fear was getting pregnant, and I didn't want to go to a gynecologist because I didn't want them to tell my parents or have it show up on the insurance. My parents would be like, what is this gynecology visit? Like that. So I feel like I didn't have a ton of options, and I didn't know what to do. And like, we weren't always the safest. So I don't know how TMI to get here. Oh my gosh. Okay. Like, we were using protection when we were sober. When we weren't sober, I feel like we would forget and just be like, it's fine. So that is kind of where I think things go a little bit south. It became official, and that's when we started having sex. Why is this so uncomfortable for me to say? What, am I, a child? Anyways, we were having sex, and we just weren't super careful about it. Like, we would use protection, like I said, but when we were drinking, we weren't always using protection, and I think that's where things went wrong. But I was always so paranoid of getting pregnant that I literally was like, I need a Plan B pill. Even if it wasn't remotely like sketchy, I guess. Like, I was so paranoid that I literally went through like 25 Plan B pills in like a semester, just because I was like, I need one. Even if I really didn't, I think I was just like, just in case. I wasn't naive to the fact that like I could get pregnant. Like, I knew that this could happen. It was towards the end of the semester, and I went home for Christmas break. And then when I came back, my boyfriend were obviously together again, sexually active again. And I was thinking, like, I remember it was like January 3rd. I woke up that day and I just felt different. And I don't know how to explain it. I went to like my cousin's wedding, and I remember just feeling like so bloated. Like, my stomach felt so bloated, but I would get bloated a lot. Like, I don't know why I've always just gotten bloated. Like, I've had tummy issues, like hot girls have tummy issues. But anyways, I was always getting so bloated, and I was like, my boobs kind of hurt too. My period's not supposed to start for like 2 weeks. So I was like, I don't know what that means. And I just had like a weird feeling. And then on Instagram, I had this photo pop up. I'm gonna find it. Oh my gosh. I had this photo pop up, and I was like, it's a sign. But I was like, no, I'm not actually pregnant. Like, my period wasn't even supposed to start. I just kept having these weird feelings. Like, it's almost like my sixth sense was kicking into gear. Okay, I found it. It says, it's not the end of the world, it's the start of life. And it's like a pregnancy test. So that popped up, and I screenshotted it, and I was like, am I pregnant? Like, is this a sign? Like, I don't know. This was the first time out of like a year being sexually active that I was like, I feel different. Like, and I don't know what it is. I had like those nervous butterflies, but not the good ones where like you're nervous for something exciting. Like you're nervous for like doom. Fast forward, like a couple weeks later, I was about to leave out of town for my brother's wedding. My brother was getting married. And I remember the night before I left just crying to my boyfriend. So I was like, I just feel like something's wrong. Like I don't feel like my period's gonna come. My period was supposed to show up in like 2 days or so, and I was like, I just don't feel like it's gonna come. Like I had this weird feeling, you guys. Like I don't know how to explain it. I just like knew. And he's like, you're probably just being paranoid, like you're fine. Period doesn't come. And then I think it was February 1st. I think I had my friend go with me to CVS, and I had her get the pregnancy test. I don't know, I was like too scared to get it. I remember she like dropped me off. She was like dating her boyfriend at the time, so she didn't really like, yeah. Anyway, she just like left me. Anyways, I took the test. I remember I got like a red Solo cup. My little partying days, a little red Solo cup. And I like peed in it because I was like, well, I don't want to be inaccurate and like, try to pee in the test. So I literally just peed in the cup. And then I like dipped the test in and I left it on the counter. And I literally just sat in my bed in the dark for like, I'm not even kidding, it was at least 20 minutes, probably like 30. I just like didn't have the courage to like get up and check the test because like, I don't know, I had that feeling. But I was also like in denial. I was like, there's no freaking way. Like not me, like this, it's more like the feeling, it's not like I couldn't get pregnant. It was like, this wouldn't happen to me. Like this is not in my life plan. I get up and I finally like look at the test and I'm holding it up and I see, I was like, at first glance, I was like, oh, I'm not pregnant. And then I look even closer and I was like, is that a faint line? Like I was so shocked. It's like, no. So I was like looking closer. So I wasn't even for sure. I was like, wait. But like, so now I was thinking like, do tests come with 2 very, very faint lines and they'll get dark if you're pregnant? Like I was never taking a test before, so I wasn't sure what that meant. And so I was like, wait, I'm so confused. Does that mean I'm pregnant? Like I still remember that feeling like, oh my gosh, I have like PTSD. Either way, I was freaked the F out. So I didn't tell anyone, nothing. I like locked the door to like the room and I just sat in the shower in the dark and listened to sad songs and cried for a full hour. Okay, wait, I need to take a pause. I am parched. I need a drink. I've been talking too much. Let's go do a little fizz drink run. All right, off we go. I really want to get some fast food while I'm out, but I'm gonna try not to because I'm trying to eat healthy. Okay, we're here. I'm at Fizz. This is my favorite soda shop in Utah.
Hi, thank you for choosing Fizz. Did you have a loyalty number with us?
Yeah, let's do a 24. I think it's called a Berry Bad Doctor. That's it.
Okay, 664 at the window.
Thank you. I literally got 2 drinks because I've been craving this drink. A Berry Bad Doctor. It's like Dr. Pepper, raspberry puree, coconut cream, vanilla, I think coconut syrup. It is so good. Is that very bad? Thank you. Oh, damn, that is so good. Okay, back to my story. So, I sat in the shower, cried all night, depressed, but I still wasn't sure. So then I just had like a week of stress, you know? I don't think I told my boyfriend either, and I was just dead inside. So I had a team trip that weekend, I think, to Colorado, so I played a match, but I could just tell like I couldn't even like really play very well. Play the first set of my tennis match, I'd do super good, easy. Second set, I'd be so tired. Like I'd almost die because you're that first trimester, you know? Like so I like sleep in, go to tennis practice, come back and sleep for like 3 hours and then go get a footlong sandwich from Subway and then go back to sleep. Like I was literally exhausted. So then a week after I took the first test, I was like, okay, well, the only way to check is to do another test a week later. So I took the test again. And this time, the second line was dark. Like there were 2 dark ass lines. I was like, yep, I'm 100% knocked up. It was stressful, but I also felt like I was like in denial. I told my boyfriend, Eric, and he was like weirdly calm. Like I was crying, I was like, my life's over, blah blah blah, and he was like, it's all right, like we wanted to get married before this happened, like this is just like happening sooner than we thought it was gonna happen, and just like very good about it, which was super like comforting and reassuring. Like during that time, like I literally just felt so stressed, There's a car going by me. I just felt so stressed, so anxious. Like, my parents were coming to all my tennis matches and I was pregnant, but like they didn't know, and it's like, why is she playing so bad? Like, also, why are her boobs getting huge? Also, why is her skin breaking out? Like, I had so much, I feel like, on my shoulders, and I'm like, I'm literally pregnant, like competing at a collegiate level, the #1 position for singles and doubles, and like at a religious university where there's an honor code where I can get kicked out, and where my family, like my sister's my tennis coach, like it was just like the most stressful situation you could be in. So I literally just couldn't handle it anymore, especially because my parents actually didn't even know I was dating my boyfriend. That's probably something I should have mentioned earlier, but my parents did not know me and Eric were officially dating. They knew who he was, but they didn't know that we were like together, and they did not like him. So that's kind of why I hid the whole entire relationship. And so when I found out I was pregnant, I'm like, fuck. For that reason too, like that amount of stress of them also not liking the guy I'm dating, which they don't even know I'm dating, was like next level. I was trying to incorporate him more in my life so that they can kind of see him around, so that they knew like something was going on, so it wasn't gonna be like the hugest shock ever when they found out I was pregnant. Once they saw me with him a little bit more, they were like, you need to break up with him. Like, they didn't really know him very well, but they just like knew he was like kind of like a bad boy or whatever, and like, we don't want our daughter dating a bad boy. So my dad was like, you literally need to break up with him. And so like that was at the point where like I went to Eric and I was like, we need to tell our parents, because my dad doesn't think we're dating, or he kind of thinks we are. He suspects it, but he's like, you guys can't be together. They need to know that we're like literally pregnant. Even if we don't stay together, like we're gonna be tied together forever with a child. Like right before this all happened, I went to this like ultrasound place that does ultrasounds for people who don't have insurance. Did the ultrasound on the tummy, and it's just kind of like a little blob, and I was like, oh, is it like the baby? And then they did one of those like wands, those like transvaginal ultrasounds, and all of a sudden I could see like a little baby. Like I saw like little eyes, like little arms, little hands. You could see his little fingers already. You could see his little toes. Like you could see everything. And I found out I was only, well, I was actually further along than I thought I was, but I was 9 weeks and 5 days. So I probably got pregnant like very end of December before I went to Christmas break in California. It was just wild though, because like that was the first time I saw like an actual like little baby. I'm like, this isn't my tummy. Like holy crap, this is like happening. Like this is real. Like this is like a full-on baby that I could see in my stomach. And so that's kind of like where we're like, yeah, we need to tell our parents. Met up that night, we literally cried in each other's arms. They're like, okay, tomorrow we're gonna tell our parents. And that is a story for another time. That is it. That is me finding out I was pregnant and all the feelings, all the emotions. It was definitely a roller coaster. Like I was on an emotional roller coaster, and it only got even crazier trying to tell my parents I was pregnant with a guy they didn't know I was dating. Well, they thought I was a virgin. So if you want to hear that story, let me know. Either way, make sure to like and subscribe. We have new videos out every single Sunday, so your support means everything. And comment if I should do telling my parents I'm pregnant at 19 video. Yeah. Okay, love you guys.